Welcome to part 2. So at the end of part 1, knowing the different types of hairs, one thing that can make it to resonate well with you is go around, start spotting hairs, start calling them by their names: straight, tip wave, pixie, bunny. Go online, spend more time online looking at different types of hairs, so that way you would to become a part and parcel of you. So it will become a part and parcel of you. So I'm going to go straight into part 2. Part 2 is types of closing. So I didn't say closure. I know the reason I didn't use the word closure. I used the word closing because closing is anyhow you want to close your hair. So do you want to close it with, first we have the round closing. So the round closing is something like this. So you can see it's round closed, and under round closing we have a fringe. So this is a fringe because the front was trimmed. So we can still have a round closing, and if we don't trim the fringe, so it will reach here, right? So that means a round closing can be part as a side parting, as a center parting. So if you have clients that don't have money for closure, they can buy ordinary hair and do round closing. Okay, you can even wig round closing for them. If they don't like something touching their eyebrow, you can suggest round closing to them. So how do you close these hairs? The next thing is the next type of closure. I'll go with the very first and popular one. Is this closure? It's called the 4x4 closure. And why do we call it 4x4? We call it 4x4 because of you use your tape rule to measure. My tape rule has got to. Okay, let me use a round number. So let me use 10 so that when we measure it will give us the 4. So you can see 10 to 14 is 4, right? So that's 4x4. So and it's usually called and like this. So why is it called 4x4? Measure here 4, measure here 4. You can see that it is fully ventilated, meaning that you can part anywhere in this 4x4. So when someone is going for a 4x4 closure, it means they can part it as side, center, C-part sometimes, side, weave it, but everything happens in this middle part. So this 4x4 can only sit in this middle part. So that's the most popular kit in the block. So I'm going to talk about the next thing that is similar to 4x4. It's called the T closure. So most times people are going to call this full closure. So when you hear the word full, it means it's fully ventilated. That is the meaning. And sometimes your customers are going to misplace when you say full closure for frontal. So sometimes that's why I prefer writing 4x4 than saying full, because when you say the word full, their head will just go to full frontal, and you people no more be communicating on the same level. So even if you use the word full, try to also still write 4x4 by the side so that it can vindicate you when trouble happens. Then the next one is it's still 4x4, but if you see anywhere that even if your supplier puts it, or you are even the consumer buying it, and you see the word T for tiger, T for tom-tom, T before the word closure, or T before the word 4x4, it means it's going to come like this. Are you seeing this white thread? It means it was sewn, and the only ventilated part is this middle part and the top. So it will still give you some natural look, but you cannot do more than one part. But if you use a T to make a wig, there's no problem if you want several parts. If it's side you want, just turn your wig to the side. If it's the other side, you turn it, so you can still rock the hair if it's as a wig. So, and you know the prices will differ. And again, some people are always saying, am I sure it will sit well? See, if it's sitting on your head and it's a T closure, see, it sits perfectly. It's only you that know that you cannot part it anyhow. That is the difference. So a T also sits well. So it's affordable and it's also nice. So we have one that people hate so much. It's called Pampers, but I don't have it here for sample. Maybe you can Google it, or I'm sure you'd have had an encounter with it. So it's usually padded. It can be padded with black or white most often. So those types are the ones people really hate. But I'll tell you how to deal with such situations. Or should I just mention it now? Please, I hope you're writing. So in cases whereby you get some hairs, because this hair is some people will sell hairs to you and say closure for free. So most times that's how Pampers comes in. If you see that case Don't just throw the hair away or say, I cannot enjoy this hair. The solution to Pampers hair is ventilate it by yourself out of your bundle or the closure that comes in Pampers. Cut it out and use it to ventilate. But I will actually personally advise you ventilate from your bundles, because if you ventilate from the closures, once you want to ventilate the hair, you need to fold the hair, and when you are cutting it, the length is reduced. When you fold it, it's more reduced. But unlike if it's coming from your bundle, it's longer, so that the closure can also be longer. But if you don't mind it being short, you can take care of it well. You can just pluck out this part of the hair and use it to ventilate. Just a tiny strip that can cover it. 2x2, 2x4 is okay. So the next type of closure is okay, I was holding this closure 2x4. Let me just talk about it. So this is a full closure here. So sometimes some people might not have so much money to buy a new closure, and you're a seller and you have some closures, you can suggest to them to take 2x4. So this was just equally cut into two. So there are some closures that also comes as 2x4, mostly bone straight, because we all know that bone straight closures are expensive. So the only way that it can make sense, or you can still, because at one certain time people were even buying silky straight hair for their bone straight, but silky straight closure for their bone straight. So but the only way that at least you can bring out money and still look nice, just buy 2x4 of the bone straight. It's going to be more affordable for you. But see, 2x4, you can take a full hair and cut it, or you can ventilate this with your wig maker or ventilator. What's the next thing I want to talk about? Okay, so we now also have 2x6. So I've already told you how we measure this 2x whatever, 4x n. It's tape rule. You put it by the right, put it like this. So when you see 2x4, you measure it 2. It will give you 2 here. It will give you 4 here. So when you see 2x6, 2x6, so another name for 2x6 is Kim K. So some people still call this Kim K, but ask them, is it original Kim K? Is it 2x6 Kim K? So ask for clarity, because now you're being lectured and you know what you should know. So when you see 2x6, it means that it will be tiny like this 2, and it's going to be longer than this 2x6. Okay, that's the meaning of 2x6. So talking about T closure, see this again. This is also a T closure, and see the way it's coming. So like I said, types of closing. So let me see if this video is going to load. Okay, it's not loading. Okay, so let's just look at other videos and pictures so we can see a full closure, what it looks like. So we also have a 5x5 closure. So some people call it mini frontal, or 6x6 mini frontal. So it's just wider than the regular one. It's a new kid in block. So and we also have the fringe with closure. So just like this here, I hope you would see it. So can you see? Sorry, let me take it to the beginning. So see, can you see the pattern in between the head? So that's a fringe. Just like how we saw this fringe, but this part is not round sewn, it is with closure that the fringe was created. So it's also a type of closing. So some people can say that's what they want. Then we also have frontal. So when you see the net complete from your ear to ear, so another name for frontal is ear to ear. So the net has to go ear to ear. So not when you see side to side, that one can just be 5x5. You understand? So it has to come around the ear area down here. That's how you know that it's a frontal. So and we have T frontal. I hope you remember the beginning lecture when I told us why a word is called T. It means it's sewn in between. It means it's sewn. Let me even open for better illustration. So it means it's sewn. So some people can call it sewn closure, T closure, or machine closure. So these are the 3 names it can be used as. Can you see? It's sewn here. A bundle is sewn here, and it reflects in the back. So as a result, you cannot part apart from the place they ventilated. So, and it's not a bad thing, it's not a crime. If that's your level, start from there. Okay, so this is a frontal. Yes, so this is a frontal. Then yes, so this is a frontal and a closure sitting side by side. So we can see a full closure and a full frontal. So it's both fully ventilated. So it's a type of closing as well. Then I don't know, did I have more? Yes, then the last one I haven't mentioned is a 360. So a 360 is a type of clothing, and people usually mistake 360 and full lace wig together. So this picture is going to show us. So can we see this picture? Can we see that there is a part sewn? Let me zoom in. Okay. I don't know, I'll give my people to. Okay, so I think I've zoomed in. So can you zoom, can you now see that there is a line in between? So it means it was sewn. But if you see this net going round, completely round and with hair, it means that round place was ventilated, and that's what a 360 means, that it is ventilated and there will be a middle hole whereby you can now sew your bundle to. That's what a 360 means. So round the hair, ventilated, middle open for a bundles to be put into it. But a full lace wig means everywhere in the hair is ventilated, so the price can also never be the same. So we should understand these terms. So these are the various types of clothing that are available. So I need the full closure, frontal, I did not mention something. So frontals are usually measured with your tape rule, 13 by 4. So 13, the length, the ear to ear, 4, the depth. So, and there are some frontals that are like the Kim K frontal that are measured 13 by 6. They are not common, but you can see them. Yes, they are not common, but you can see them. So there is a 13 by 6. So having said all these things, go online, go to Google, look at pictures, go to hair groups, look at pictures, resonate with them well, use them in your sentence, call them their right names, because I know before now you might not be calling them rightly, but now you know the real name. Start using it so that it can become part and parcel of you. One. Number 2, it makes your customer to know you know what you know. And thirdly, from these lectures, you'll be able to understand how to train customers aright, like direct customers to make the right choices for themselves. So when it comes to closing, you understand what limitation each closing has. From what I've explained, you understand the limitation it has. And you can explain how to convince them to buy. Even if you want to buy T-buy and they want to change their mind, you can convince them, you can just rock it now. If you are going to your children's school, you don't have time to start doing different type of party, you just want to wear and go, this should be that week that you should attend to them. So you can use that one to convince them that easy styling method, no stress, because it's still closure. That's one. Another advantage is that it does not easily pluck, because they are not doing much on the hair, so less plucking. Another thing you can use to convince them, the pricing too. So you can use to convince them to just pick this if that's what you have. So here, and if it's this one that you're trying to convince them and they have the money, you tell them, see, you can do multiple parting. If it's frontal, you're trying to convince them, you tell them unlimited parting, realistic styling, to convince them to take the hair. And some people might complain about stress of frontal, so you can explain to them, we can make it glueless for you, just tell us your hair measurement and we'll work on it and customize it. You could just pay a fee for that customization. You get? So when you understand all this type of clothing, you know how to talk. When someone say, I'm broke, I cannot buy clothes, yeah, madam, just do round clothing. You can style it how you want. The quality is the main thing. The quality will speak volume. You understand? So you convince them to get these various hair, you communicate to them the advantage, disadvantage, pros and cons, so that once they're taking that decision, they would be convinced and understand what they are going for ahead. They will not take that decision and be sad halfway that, see the decision I took. So at the end of the day, they are happy, you're happy, and you all are making sales. So any other question you have, you can drop in the comment section, you can drop on the group, and we'll be glad to attend to you. So we're going to move on to the next level, the part 3, that is understanding color and codes. Ciao.